Recording in progress.
Welcome into the latest episode of the Betting the Pitch Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Real_G Warner, joined by no one. It's just me, but we're going to go through a big midweek of soccer matches, mainly the Cup competitions across all of the top 5 European soccer leagues. But we do have a normal, regular week for the English Premier League. So that's where we'll start on this matchup. We'll also go through Copa del Rey in Spain, the Coppa Italia in Italy, the Coupe de France in France, and the DFB Pokal in Germany. And we'll be trying to find a winner from each of those groups of games. And then I'll smash that together for a 1-minute video on my Instagram at the_Real_G Warner, also on YouTube at the_Real_G Warner. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, please throw a like and a 5-star review at Betting the Pitch. If you want to listen to there it is. If you want to subscribe on YouTube at the_Real_G Warner or hit the follow button on Instagram at the_Real_G Warner. We'll be shouting out some Patreon members later in the show, probably during it as well. And of course, you can subscribe to get all plays across all sports, including a big time college basketball, especially as we round towards the NCAA tournament. But now that I expect people should be in here and hopefully catching us live, as this is a lot earlier than normal. Those of you that want to throw some comments in here, I will get to them as soon as I see them. But let's go where the money is, and we'll start in the English Premier League. I actually need to get this to a different version of the site so that it's easier for me to read. Or maybe I won't just do that, and I'll just go as is. So we'll start on Tuesdays. We have a big slate of Tuesday matches, Wednesday and Thursday, I believe, in the Premier League. We'll start with Brighton, and they are hosting Bournemouth. Currently, Brighton, a quarter goal favor right now with all the juice. Total is 3, and the juice is slightly more on the underside, just 2 cents difference at BetOnline, Sportsbetting.ag. If you don't have an account there and want some free money to sign up, please slide in my DMs at the_Real_G Warner across any social media platform. So first thing that jumps out to me is I am in, as I'm getting a phone call, of course. I think I'm on Do Not Disturb, but I guess that doesn't stop my phone. We're going to start. So now that I'm completely discombobulated, we'll come back to, so Bournemouth, they are going to have to figure out how to play without their center back, Zabarny, unless he had a red card rescinded. I doubt it. Went over the ball and was sent off pretty early in the match at home to Fulham. And then I guess, at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers. And then in a big surprise, Wolverhampton were able to hang on to 1-0 victory. Huge for them staying in the league. And honestly, was the first real setback to Bournemouth this season. I think the big question is, what do we expect to actually go down with Bournemouth, and how do they respond to that type of situation? I would rather be backing Andoni Iraola. He's been through plenty of things like that with much further worse and inferior center backs at Rayo Vallecano in his previous stop in La Liga in Spain. And I think Brighton, I mean, they got a good win this weekend, but that was against one of the worst teams in English Premier League history, as promoted sides continue to look that way. And honestly, the Bournemouth side to me is of big interest because I feel like they, as an underdog, they play the perfect strategy. I'm not shocked that they're as higher in the table as they are. I guess I'm a little surprised with their positioning, but they're a great bet as an underdog, and I don't really want to be anywhere but on it. And I honestly don't want to play under 3 here. I do like to push on 3, but I think I'd be less inclined to play under because I don't want to waste a potential winner on Bournemouth if they score too many goals, win on the road, and it happens to hit the over, and you end up juicing out and splitting your money. So Bournemouth, quarter of a goal is my biggest interest in that matchup. Move next to Crystal Palace hosting Aston Villa. Crystal Palace continuously winning 2-0 on the road, it seems, every time, but a formerly bad road team, good home team, now has to go home and try to find some form. Currently, Crystal Palace a pick'em right now to Aston Villa. All the juice right now, Crystal Palace, a little bit of odds getting on the Aston Villa side. Total is 2.5 in this one, just all the way to over. So there's some belief maybe that they're going to see some goals in this matchup. I don't really know that I trust Crystal Palace to score, that they keep getting good results. And last weekend was certainly great on the road at Fulham. Aston Villa had a midweek match with Liverpool, which they ended up kind of coughing up a lead at halftime, but then came back from a deficit and won 2-1. A a little bit fortunate from a Chelsea goalkeeper mistake in the nightcap on Saturday, but also deserved a penalty that for some reason the English Premier League just wasn't interested in giving penalties in late stoppage time or what have you on Saturday. The Aston Villa side, though, I mean, they are used to playing Champions League midweek, so they're in good position to balance some extra matches. But they also, they've added to their squad a lot on the wingers. I just don't know, like, do we see Ollie Watkins play a third match in 7 days, essentially? That's a really quick turnaround to a Tuesday match, considering they've had to play Wednesday against Liverpool and then Saturday this weekend. I mean, that's a really tough spot, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some rotation from Aston Villa, especially considering their defense is really banged up. We saw Tyrone Mings, I think, get hurt again, and they've tried to bring in center backs, but Axel Disasi I don't really trust. There's a reason why he's not playing at Chelsea right now. And I think that the Palace side is what I want here. They haven't been good at home, but I trust their crowd. It's always going to be there. You can always hear them after they score a goal, no matter where they're playing, especially on the road, which is surprising. But I think that's the side I want. I lean to under 2.5 just because I do think there's a good chance we don't see Ollie Watkins. That will certainly change if the striker and top goal scorer for Aston Villa is out. We'll see what that ends up looking like. I'm not sure I can make a call that he's injured or anything like that, but I wouldn't be shocked if we see some rotation, and that would certainly push me towards Crystal Palace and might even make me want to start kind of reading the tea leaves to see if I can get in on that sooner rather than later, as I don't want to really lay a quarter of a goal on any soccer favorite. Moving next to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Speaking of, after their big win on the road at Bournemouth, huge for them and staying in the league. They're hosting Fulham. Currently, Wolves are a pick'em right now, a little bit more juice on Fulham away. As to the total here, we have under 2.5 is our number, more juice to the under than to the over. Wolves, I mean, I don't really trust them to score goals, I got to say. And their defense, I guess it's been getting better, but it helps playing against 10 men. Bournemouth, I guess they've been competitive in matches recently as they're fighting to stay out of being relegated to the championship. Huge win this past weekend, especially as all their other opponents lost, or at least relegation possibilities. All newly promoted sides, all bad, all lost. Fulham on the other side, they just haven't been playing very well. It's hard to argue with it. They had a great start to the season. It hasn't been great lately. For that reason, I'll lean to Wolves, so I don't feel great about the current pick'em. I think if there's any quarter goal underdog here, I'd probably like that one, whether it's a home underdog or a road underdog there. But we don't have that yet. I'll lean to under 2.5 because I don't really see Fulham. They haven't been defending great, but their goals haven't really been showing up either. And I think that's a great situation, I guess, for Wolves to potentially capitalize on some great momentum. Moving to the nightcap on Tuesday, we have Chelsea hosting Southampton. Speaking of newly promoted clubs that are going back down, I think Southampton are pretty much relegated already. But I guess the lady has not sung, whether she's overweight, underweight, or the right weight. Currently, Chelsea 2.25 goal favorites at home, and they're playing horribly. So that's a really big price. Total is 3.75, and the juice is split both ways. If there's ever a time to get on Southampton, it's here. 2.25 goal underdogs can lose by 2 and still cover for you. The problem is I don't think I want to get involved with that. Chelsea should be angry, should be disappointed, should be all these sort of things, but they haven't shown anything and keep losing. Like, they're one of the best fades in the English Premier League right now, maybe in all of sports. Lean to under 3.75 goals because Chelsea just aren't scoring. But if there's ever a team to wake you up offensively, it's certainly Southampton. Moving to the 26th of February, so that's Wednesday. Brentford, they are hosting Everton in the early matchup. Currently, Brentford half a goal favorites at home. All the juice on Everton right now. Total is 2.5, and it's juiced very heavily to over. Now, Brentford did play Friday. Everton played the early game Saturday. Maybe that benefits Brentford a little bit. They got to travel back from Leicester, who they pasted and, of course, got a late goal to kill the under. If you are backing Brentford for their goal scoring, I don't know what to tell you. I don't really trust them, nor do I trust them against an Everton side that's shown they can defend. I really like what we've seen from Everton. I like them as a half of a goal underdog. Good comment that Tim Howard said on the coverage this weekend that David Moyes, his old manager and back at Everton, we don't go on the road to entertain. I think they're going to do everything they can to make this a low-scoring matchup, and I think that fits Everton, who do have the hottest striker in this matchup, and that is Beto. If you're not watching, that's a real shame because there are video podcasts available on Spotify, Betting the Pitch, also on Apple Podcasts, maybe. I'm not sure about that actually, but they are on YouTube, of course, and you would just miss me doing a version of the Beto celebration. We'll move next to Tottenham Hotspur hosting Manchester City. Currently, Tottenham half a goal underdog at home with all the juice. Total is 3.5, and it is juiced all the way to over. Should be because Tottenham can't defend, and they played really well this weekend. I think, as Robbie Musso said, it was a big weekend for Tottenham. It might be the best they could have played. Maybe that was Ipswich, their opponent. Maybe that was them just kind of putting it all together. They were simply rinsing Ben Godfrey, who got taken off at halftime. The whole first half got them 2 goals. And they got 2 goals in the second half as well. Did concede, of course. That's what they do. Manchester City nil at home to Liverpool. We're controlling the game, but we're 2 behind, so that is kind of sometimes easy to do. And this is going to be a matchup of 2 really poor defenses. I lean to Tottenham at home getting half of a goal. I think we're seeing, and Pep Guardiola kind of admitted to it, that Manchester City are focusing on the future because they know this year's gone and it's not going to be a title win for them. And that means that they're out of Champions League. So they should be worried about finishing a Champions League position, though I guess top 5 in the Premier League should get there, and they should be able to finish above Nottingham Forest and probably Bournemouth, other teams as well. The thing is, though, they have to get there, and I don't know that I trust them to do it. I don't really have any interest in playing unders with Manchester City at this point, nor do I with Tottenham, so I'll lean to over 3.5 to my longtime Patreon subscriber, Joe Dollar. There's one for you already, but lean to Tottenham getting half a goal at home because I just don't trust Manchester City to win. Moving to the I guess same sort of window, Manchester United, another Manchester team. They are home for this one, hosting Ipswich Town. Currently, Manchester United 1-goal favorite with all the juice. Total is 3, and it's juiced all the way to under. Ipswich Town, I mean, they have some problems. They're looking like a relegated side, and they need to do anything they can. Certainly could go on the road where they've been better as of late, like getting a full underdog from a full goal of insurance from a bad team like Manchester United, who really are just hopeless, and their manager won't adjust to his horrible team. I do think that puts the under at risk. It's very juiced right now, but I do like the push on 3. Also think that Ipswich can stay within the number, potentially could even win at Old Trafford. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyone probably. I want to be against Manchester United, even if it is on a soon-to-be relegated promoted side. They're not dead yet, but it doesn't look good for Ipswich. We'll move to 2 matches left on this 3 matches left. I lied. We'll start with Nottingham Forest. They are a half a goal underdog to Arsenal at home. Total is 2.25. And this is going to be a big kind of put up or shut up time for Nottingham Forest. And you can say that for Arsenal too. Arsenal probably shell shocked that they feel like the title race is gone with their loss when they went down to 10 men. They're already behind, but it wasn't great to take a red card when they were trying to come back and equalize and then get a winner at home to West Ham. Now they go on the road to Nottingham Forest, who have been outperforming expectations, but have kind of been very inconsistent as of late. Got smashed by Newcastle on the road last weekend, though first goal was another horrible refereeing decision, calling a no contact foul, and then first goal was scored from it, and then I think Newcastle got 3 more in 14 minutes or something like that. Rest of the game, Nottingham Forest were good, but that's pretty bad when you concede 4 goals there. Arsenal have no strikers left, partly because they have a thin roster, but they also play everyone that they have their best every match, and that's a Mikel Arteta problem. Arsenal are more used to midweek matches. Nottingham Forest are not, so that certainly helps the Gunners, but I'm looking to be against them, and I want to back the home underdog Nottingham Forest in front of their crowd. I like that half of a goal and lean to under 2.25 as well. Move next to Liverpool, hosting Newcastle. Currently Liverpool a 1-goal favorite with all the juice. Total is 3.25, and the juice is a little bit more to the under. It's a big price, especially for a preview of the Carabao Cup final, I believe, that's coming up somewhat soon. Newcastle, certainly a very different squad away from home, but honestly, I really like them. Especially at home, but I think they can stay within a goal of Liverpool, who are winning games. But honestly, I feel like it's a bad Premier League this season. It's not really Liverpool being that dominant, though they're far ahead. And maybe they do focus on, I think they want to win the title, so they're going to do everything they can. But Champions League, Carabao Cup, all those sort of things are certainly on the mind of Arne Slot and others. Big price on Newcastle. I'll wait to see it get bet higher because Liverpool is going to get supported as the best club in England and in Europe, you could argue, based on their Champions League performance. But I don't see a ton of goals in this matchup. I think Newcastle, they try to live on a counterattack. And Liverpool, one thing I'll say about Arne Slot that he's been much better than Jurgen Klopp about is they're much more into possession, and he's very good at protecting his defense. And I think that's going to point to under potentially a little bit more value there than playing Newcastle. Plus, you get a couple other goals to deal with as I don't know that we're going to see a huge flurry from Newcastle in this matchup. Last but not least, we'll go to West Ham United hosting Leicester. It might be the last because these two teams are pretty bad. But West Ham, that big win on the road at Arsenal, they're 3/4 goal favorites at home with all the juice. Total on this one is 2 3/4. Juice is split both ways. Now, Leicester haven't been scoring at all at home. I think they've conceded the last 16 goals in their home digs. This is different because they're going on the road. And West Ham United is certainly not known for scoring. With that said, I don't think I want anything to do with Leicester at this point. All I could look to is under 2 3/4. But man, that's a tough one. I'm not really sure I want much to do with that, I must say. And I think for an ultimate best bet, what I do end of show, stick around for all that, of course. But I'm going to go through and throw everything up there that I can, my favorite pick from each of the leagues, and then going to decide which one will go down as one you can grade me upon. But I got to pick one from the English Premier League. Huge slate here compared to the other cup competitions, which will have much fewer choices. So I'm kind of spoiled for choice right now, if you will. For my best bet in the English Premier League, I guess I go through the list. I really like Bournemouth as a quarter goal underdog. Under 3 is of interest too. I like Crystal Palace as a pick 'em at home. Wolves and Fulham. Not really much interested and want to see where the line moves in that one. Skip Southampton. I do like Everton on the road at Brentford, but on the road is certainly a different story. Tottenham at home, I like half of the goal there. Ipswich I like to fade Manchester United's offense on side and total. Nottingham Forest is certainly buying low against Arsenal, but they look horrible. And honestly, I don't think they have a ton of answers. Newcastle certainly could lose by a big margin on the road at Anfield at Liverpool, but I think we'll be competitive. And then probably Leicester under is the only thing I could look to on Thursday, the 27th of February, the second to last penultimate day of the month. For my best bet in English Premier League, I'm going to go with Crystal Palace, a pick'em right now. And we'll move now to the Copa del Rey in Spain as soon as I can get there. And let's do it. We'll start with Barcelona hosting Atletico Madrid. This is a 2-legged tie, so we're going to have a really conservative first leg is my strategy, and I think that will play out. Barca currently a 3/4 goal favorite right now with almost all the juice. Total on this one is 3, and it's juiced more to the under. Now, I think the Barcelona really narrow victory on the road at Las Palmas this weekend was good for them, but not that impressive. Atletico Madrid also narrow victory, but I guess similar scoreline, both on the road. And Atleti having to play 2 back-to-back road games is not great, but they do have quite a bit of insurance here, and it's rare for me to want to play an under, but I do think we see a conservative first leg. So Atleti, a 3/4 goal underdog, also under 3 are my interest here. We do have 2 advanced numbers. Currently, Barcelona -160 to Atletico Madrid's +130. As we've seen in the Champions League, Europa Conference League, though I don't think that actually had 2 advanced numbers out. But regardless, I do like second leg home teams. I think there's some value there. I'm very interested in Atletico Madrid as a +130 to advance. I think Barcelona, to me, I mean, they have a high line that they play, but it is very dangerous against the best clubs in the world. I think we've seen Barca succeed so far, but I just don't really trust it. I think the 3/4 of goal is pretty large. Atleti are probably okay with losing by a single goal and taking it back home to the Wanda Metropolitano, now sponsored by some blood money country in the Mideast. But at this point, I think Atleti are where I want to be. So I like that 3/4 of goal underdog, probably more than under 3. But I think we see Atleti playing for a goalless draw. That would be a huge boon for them and put them in a really great position to move through. And that works for the advanced number, the against the spread, and under. So I like that all, and they all kind of point in the same direction. We'll move to Wednesday. We have Real Sociedad hosting Real Madrid. Currently, Real Sociedad 3/4 goal underdog at home with all the juice. Total on this one is 2.5, and it's juiced very heavily to over. Another one where I like the underdog, 3/4 of a goal on Sociedad at home, where they are very good at beating the biggest clubs in Spain. That works for me. I lean to under 2.5 because I think Real Madrid are similar to Atleti. They're trying to take this trend, this tie home for them to then win at the Bernabeu. In terms of 2 advanced numbers, Real Sociedad 5-1 odds. If you're playing that, you need them to get a win in the first leg. I don't know that I trust that, especially as an underdog. Real Madrid on the other side -750, so $750 to win 100 versus Real Sociedad 100 to win 150. I think at this point there's probably not enough for me there, especially going into the Bernabeu, even with a lead that looks really scary. But I do lean to Real Sociedad as a 3/4 goal underdog and to under 2.5 in that matchup as well. For my best bet, though, in this Copa del Rey, I'm going to go Atletico Madrid, a 3/4 goal underdog. I think that's probably, we could see some goals scored, but they might be from Atleti, I got to say. So I'm not so afraid of Barcelona, as that's obvious, but I think that's where I'd like to be in that matchup. Now we'll move to, I believe this is still the quarterfinals of the Coppa Italia, the last two matches. And of course, we'll get to the what's left on here. We have the Coupe de France and the German Bundesliga, and we might not have a full Coupe de France side, but I'll try to give an idea of kind of where I'm looking on the other matches, though there are certainly some lopsided ones there in France, as the smaller clubs have certainly been doing well in that competition. We'll start with Tuesday matchup. We'll go to Inter Milan hosting Lazio. Currently Inter, a 3/4 goal favorite, all the juice on Lazio away. Total in this one is 2.5, and it's juiced very heavily to under right now. Lazio, I really liked where they were earlier in the season, and if you pan the camera down, you can see I'm wearing my Inter Milan shirt, and honestly, they're a really scary team to fade. I don't necessarily want to do that. Lazio had been playing so well early in the season, but have not been showing that for a while. We do see Coppa Italia, I think, play a lot tighter than matches like that in Serie A, but at this point, I don't know that I really want much to do with fading Inter Milan, especially in their home stadium where they play the Lose song, which is so awesome if you're there live, like I was for a Champions League match last season. Maybe I have some interest in their 2.5, but honestly, I feel like Inter can score, and that's what they're best at. Lazio certainly want to defend away. I'm not sure their defense is that good, though. Right now, the two advanced number, Inter minus 240 to Lazio plus 190. And I don't think I want much to do with that one unless maybe if Inter go behind, though going on the road to Stadio Olimpico is certainly a big concern. I'm not sure there's much for me in that one. We'll move to the second, I guess, match in this to close this round. We have Juventus, a 1.5 goal favorite to Empoli, more juice on Empoli away. Total is 2.75, juiced very heavily to under. Empoli being still in this tournament is kind of amazing, especially with how their season's kind of taken a nosedive in Serie A. They're going to do their best to try to stay in this game as long as they can. I don't know. They haven't been a great defense for a while. We're beating Juventus up 1-0 at Juve a couple weekends ago and ended up falling apart really badly after the 60-minute mark when substitutions were made. That's not a good sign. I guess if anything, I'll lean to under 2.75 in that matchup. That's really tough, but I guess that's where I'll lean. Two advanced number, Juve minus 650, Empoli plus 445. So $100 bet will win you 445 on Empoli. Unfortunately, there is no second leg, so Empoli got the short end of the stick here, have to play on the road. Same could be said for Lazio. And I think for my best bet in the Coppa Italia, I'll go with Lazio under 2.5 goals, though that is a tight one. I'm not sure I really like it that much. But I got to pick something. We'll move now to the Coupe de France. We have 4 matches to discuss, and I guess we do have lines for all of them, so that's great. No two advanced numbers, though. We'll start with Angers hosting Reims, the Champagne region, Reims, however I pronounce it. Currently, Angers pick them with all the juice right now at home. They are totaled at 2.25. Juice is split both ways. Reims have been playing really badly for a long time now, and it's hard to look past that. Angers have been playing great. They are newly promoted, and there's questions on what they're going to look like and how much they care about this matchup. You could argue that they didn't care that much about their previous, but, it got them here. They got a big win on the road at Strasbourg, and I'm still kicking myself for not playing it as a big underdog away. Total in this one, 2.25, lean to under as well. We saw barely any scoring in the Coupe de France in the last round of 16. I think we could see that yet again. Also tomorrow on the 25th, we have Caen hosting Guingamp. Currently Caen a 1/4 goal underdog at home with all the juice. Total is 2.5, and it's juiced all the way to under. I think all I could really say is I don't have a ton on this one, but to lean under in the Caen match under 2.5 is I don't really want much to do with a lower tier home underdog. Stade Brestois then hosts Dunkirk on 26th. That would be Wednesday. Currently Brest a 1 goal favorite, all the juice coming off their Champions League exit. Total is 2.75, juice all the way to under. So Dunkirk had a late goal to equalize Lille, and then were dead in the penalty shootout. Came back from, I think, 2-0 down because 3-0 they would have been eliminated. Save, then I think got 3 consecutive scores, and what a collapse from Lille. And then lost in like the extra time of penalty kicks amazing. Hard to see Dunkirk having that same success, but I think under 2.75 is worth looking at. It's tough for them away from home, but if they got through a local rival in Derby, not so much, but got through Lille or much better than Brest, I think that's potentially a low-scoring match that we see come down to the wire again. Certainly Brest are not the most impressive with their scoring touch, though I do want to be a little bit wary of jumping on some side that did well. Serie B, a Ligue 2 side that did well in Liga on the road, and seeing them repeat that might have been just a great day. Last but not least, we have Stade Briochin hosting PSG, currently the whatever Stade. They're 2.25 goal underdogs, all the juice on PSG away. Total is 3.25, juice all the way to over. Total feels really small for a 2.25 goal underdog to only see 3.25 on the total. That does give me some pause and make me think that there is some interest in the Stade Briochin side. I'm not fading PSG in this competition, and that is that. So for the Coupe de France, my best bet will be Angers, a pick'em at home on Tuesday, at home to Reims, as my LinkedIn notifications are just wildly going off right now. Last but not least, we'll get to the DFB Pokal, the last two matches before we get to the semifinals, and then I'll get out of here with an ultimate best bet, and you can grade me upon that. 73% so far this season. Let me find where the DFB Pokal is, and then I'll get through it. All right, we'll start with Arminia Bielefeld, formerly of the German Bundesliga, got relegated, and they got relegated from the Schweizer second division as well, Schweizer Liga. Well, then they knocked out Sport Club Freiburg in a pretty dominant effort, I thought. Now they have Werder Bremen, and they got the draw to put them at home, which is a really great position to be in, especially because Werder Bremen have been horrible. Coming off, speaking of Sport Club Freiburg, a 5-0 loss on the road at Freiburg. It's not a really great situation there right now. Werder Bremen were playing so well, and literally the air has gone out of the balloon, and they are gasping for air, and I don't know what they're going to really do. Their captain defender, Michael Friedo, is not even that good at defending, formerly with Bayern München. He's hurt, and that squad is really struggling. They dropped their best striker, goal scorer, Marvin Dusch, which he's got some mental capacity problems, I think, in his past, mental health issues. I don't know if I'd want to set that off. Andre Silva comes in and gets a penalty save from 2-0 down when they really need it. Now they go on to lose 5-0. I think there's a lot of problems. They're rocking in that locker room, I suspect. The big question is, can you go and back? Yes, they are a home underdog, but Arminia Bielefeld was that upset of Freiburg, though they are here in the DFB Pokal quarterfinal. Is the luck going to run out at some point? I don't know, but I'm interested in DSC Arminia Bielefeld getting half a goal at home, and I lean to under 2.5 as well. I think we see one of those cup matches. I mean, it's possible when the goal scoring gets out of hand that we see a lot there. I think it's probably a little safer to play under and aside in the home underdog, hoping that you might get both. But worst case, you might win an under if Arminia Bielefeld are going to lose at home to Werder Bremen. There is issues about the Werder Bremen defense, but against a third-tier side in Germany, I think there's pretty safe that Werder Bremen will start to show something. There's a lot of ways to go with this one. I do lean to the home underdog, and the plus 170 advanced number also looks pretty interesting, but that would essentially just be fading Werder Bremen as much as you can. Coming back, Werder Bremen a minus 212, so 212 US to win 100. Arminia Bielefeld 100 to win 170. To the Wednesday, we'll go to Leipzig hosting VfL Wolfsburg. Currently, Leipzig half a goal favorite at home. All the juice on Wolfsburg. Total in this matchup is 2.75. I really like how Wolfsburg have been playing. Not great going behind at home to VfL Bochum, formerly bottom club in the German Bundesliga this weekend. But I like their strategy. It's to sit back, counterattack, and I think that's going to make it really hard on RB Leipzig, even though they've been playing much better at home, and specifically in this competition have not been good at home in Bundesliga. We're horrible in the Champions League. I think there's a lot of flaws there, and I'll look to exploit that. To advanced number, very similar, minus 170, though, on the Leipzig side, plus 138 on Wolfsburg. There's a lot of respect for Wolfsburg in that number, though I like it. I don't know that I like it enough on the road. For my best bet in the DFB Pokal, I'm going to go with that Arminia Bielefeld half of a goal underdog at home. It's scary. It's definitely scary, but I feel like what wins in this betting world are the scary bets, and I think there's some good reason to go against Werder Bremen in their current state. So that is it for this episode. 29 and a half minutes, despite only discussing like 10 matches in the English Premier League and like 6 other matches or something like that. But that's what you come in here for. If you got any comments, throw them in. I got a few more minutes and I'll try to figure out what to plug. We didn't have the college basketball podcast with Big East Ben on pregame tonight, as there are pretty terrible games on Tuesday. So we're focused on Wednesday, and we will record tomorrow night. We will have a baseball podcast coming out on pregame this year. Happy to report that. Plus, I will be doing my baseball podcast with that A Brooks Bets. We do have a futures episode planned. We're trying to figure out exactly when to do it. And other than that, it's time for the ultimate best bet, I suspect. So let's get in. Let's open up a phone, make that work. And then this will be going on Instagram at @thereal_G Warner and on YouTube at @thereal_G Warner. So here it's time, and let's fix the hair as much as I possibly can. And I guess I need to cut yet again. And let's do it. Hey, this is @thereal_G Warner on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and on YouTube. This is the ultimate best bet of the European soccer betting podcast. We went 33-12 so far this year on our ultimate best bets. That's 73%. I'm going to try to keep that streak alive. I push every league pick through and make one my ultimate best bet. From the English Premier League, I like Crystal Palace, a pick'em. In the Copa del Rey in Spain, I like Atletico Madrid, a 3/4 goal underdog. In Coppa Italia, I like Lazio, a 2.5 goal under 2.5 goals. In Ligue 1 in France, I like Angers, a pick'em. And the German Bundesliga's DFB Pokal, I like DSC Arminia Bielefeld, a 0.5 goal underdog in the cup competition at home. But for the ultimate best bet on this episode, 33-12 so far year to date, 73%. Go check out my Patreon, patreon.com/@thereal_G Warner. I'm going to go with Crystal Palace, a pick'em in the English Premier League, as I really like them at home. I think we might see some Aston Villa rotation. That'll do it for this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all on the next episode. College basketball coming out on pregame, the Need for Seeds College Basketball podcast with that Big East Ben. And then we'll have another soccer podcast coming up for the weekend. But that's all in the future. And we'll see you all very, very soon.
Recording stopped.